Yo guys, not the gamer here, welcome back to another video on Subnautica. So last weekend, I think it was Friday, or maybe Saturday, no I think it was Friday, I released a video on the new Arctic biome. And in that video I basically just told you everything you need to know about the Arctic biome, but just when I released it, I read something on one of the forums and I was like, shit, I really wanted that in my video. But yeah, I already released it, so I was like, alright, I'm just going to create a new video on it, just a really quick update on what I am talking about. Well, you have read the title already, so you know that I'm talking about the Hovercraft. For now, we don't know much about this vehicle. All we know right now is that the developers are testing some vehicles for the Arctic biome, and one of these vehicles is the Hovercraft. So for now they're just testing it. It is not sure if it is coming to the game or if it will ever come to the game. But the thing is that I mentioned it in one of the check-ins. So that is basically like the changelog of Subnautica. So every time they are updating the game or updating the experimental mode, they release some kind of check-in in which they say, well, this is version 59929 and in this version the options menu is changed. So right now there is just this giant list of check-ins that started all the way back to the beginning of Subnautica when they were just updating it like the main game of it. And if you want to see the list for yourselves, you can go to the link in the description. But for now there are two check-ins that I want to show you in this video. So the first check-in that I want to show you is the 59913. This says they added the Hovercraft prototype for all to try. So basically what I think that this means is that it should be in experimental mode and that we are able to play around with it. But I don't think that that is the case. I'm going to try it out though. If it works, I will show it to you. If it doesn't work, well, I might probably still show it to you which kind of codes I used, cheats, to try and spawn the Hovercraft in. But I just don't think right now that it is in the game, but I'm still going to try it. And the second check-in that I wanted to show you is the 59914, which came right after it. And it's just iteration on Hovercraft prototype. So this second check-in is just some kind of confirmation about the Hovercraft added to, well, I think just the developer's game. Because again, I'm not sure if it is in experimental mode right now. So for now there have been a lot of rumors around this Hovercraft or any vehicle that might come to the Arctic biome. On the forums there are some topics which are talking about some vehicles that might come to the game which aren't confirmed at all, but just people telling their ideas of maybe this is cool to come to the Arctic biome or this is cool. But the Hovercraft is one of the only things that the developers are talking about by themselves. When these two check-ins got posted, of course a lot of people started talking about it, and after some time one of the developers gave us an official message about what is happening about the Hovercraft prototype. And this right here is the message. The topic is closed right now, so you aren't able to comment anything anymore, but I will still leave the link to this topic so you can read all the comments and stuff like that yourself. So the thing this developer Obraxis says is, I mentioned this in another thread, but the Hovercraft was an experiment for the expansion, not for the main game. We are testing various types of vehicles to see what will work best, so very likely this will change. So again, nothing is sure, nothing is 100% sure that this is coming to the game, this Hovercraft. What we know right now is that this Hovercraft is being tested not for the main game, but for the expansion pack. So if they are going to add the Hovercraft, it will come to the Arctic biome. And I think that this makes a lot of sense, because if you think of the Arctic, you are thinking about these giant ice caps that are hanging around in the water. So it does make some sense, because an Hovercraft is able to go on water, to float on the surface of the water, but it is also able to go on land. And that is why I think that it does make sense to have a Hovercraft in the game, because you are just able to simultaneously go from the water right on top of the land. And for now I think that is actually a pretty cool idea, especially if the developers are planning to have a lot of ice caps, a lot of surface level islands on this Arctic biome. For now we don't know anything about the world that they are going to create for this Arctic biome, for this expansion pack. But if I'm thinking about the Arctic in real life, I'm thinking of these giant ice caps in the water, which you are able to walk on, or maybe in this game use a Hovercraft on. But again, we don't know how this world is going to look. Of course, Subnautica is this game that is based on the water for about 99%. But maybe the developers will do something different with this Arctic biome and make these giant ice caps. And maybe therefore a lot of the game takes place on surface level, but again, we don't know that yet. Anyway, what I want to do right now is go to the original Subnautica game and just check if it is in the game. I don't think so, but still it doesn't hurt to try it. Welcome back. Right now I am in Subnautica and we're just going to try out some cheats to get it in. I don't think it will work, but I'm just going to try it anyway. Alright, so here we go. So the first one that I will try is item Hovercraft. Doesn't work. Item craft Hoover. Doesn't work. Sub Hovercraft. Alright, it didn't say it didn't work, but also nothing spawned. What? So that one doesn't work either. Maybe spawn Hovercraft. No, maybe sub craft Hoover. Because I forgot to try that one. Also doesn't work. Spawn craft Hoover. No, for now it basically just isn't in the game yet. And right now I'm actually also thinking that it might never come to this main game. Because right now they are testing it for the Arctic biome. So maybe we will never be able to spawn it in the main game. Alright, so yeah, that is kinda sad that it isn't in the game. But if it is coming to the game, I will create a video on it so you are able to see the model and stuff like that if it is ever coming to the game. By the way, I also checked the Sketchfab page from one of the Subnautica developers. And on there I was also not able to find a Hovercraft model. Which is also too bad, because most of the time stuff is added to that place. So I will keep an eye out on that Sketchfab page, and as soon as something is released about the Hovercraft, I will show it to you. But yeah, since we aren't able to spawn the Hovercraft in, what kind of vehicles do you think that the Arctic biome will have? Right now I'm thinking that it might also be possible that some kind of icebreaker might come to the game. For now I don't know what is going to happen around the world again. So maybe that some places in the game are only accessible once you've broken certain parts of ice. Maybe something like a giant ice cap floating in the water. And at some place you can see that there is a cave, but it is blocked off by some ice. And then you might have to maybe even just some kind of tool or a submarine, which you just have to slam at that part of the ice so the ice breaks, and then you are able to enter that cave or anything like that. That is something that might be cool, I don't know. This is just me rambling around. Again, the developers didn't say anything about a certain icebreaker. For now I'm just talking about some kind of vehicles that might be cool to come to the game. Anyway guys, that is just a quick update I wanted to do on the Hovercraft vehicle. As soon as something more is released, I will create a new video about it, because I am actually thrilled to see something like a Hovercraft in the game. Also, I'm really curious what the developers are going to do with the Arctic biome, if they will release another experimental mode on that, just like they did with the original Subnautica game, or that they are just going to release it all at once. I really hope that they are going to release a experimental mode again, just like the main Subnautica game. I think it does make a lot of sense to release another experimental mode on just like the Arctic biome. That part, of course, you have to buy the DLC to be able to go to that part of the experimental mode. But I think that it wouldn't do any harm to the game, because I think that the experimental mode for the main game was actually pretty good as well. If you wanted to test some of the new parts of Subnautica, you were able to just do it. But if you didn't want to, you were just able to go to the stable mode and you wouldn't have any things to test, it wouldn't crash and stuff like that. So I think that it would also be really cool to have that for the Arctic biome as well, but again, the developers didn't mention anything about that yet. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for this video, and oh shit, what are you doing? Go back to your biome. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching this episode, and let me know what kind of vehicles you want to see in the Arctic biome. And also, what do you think of the Hovercraft? I think it is really cool. Anyway, I'm going to leave this episode right here. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one.